Morning. Happy Halloween. Promise not to be too spooky. I thought about wearing my costume, but I opted for the tie instead. They closed the schools. They said we have to wear masks. They're doing virtual church. They said we should social distance. They're masking us up. They're making us sign up. They're having live church again this Sunday. They have Sunday school for the kids again. They need people to sign up for Mesh. They're doing work in the sanctuary. They had a flood in the preschool. We say these things without thinking about who they are. But when you think about it, we are they. Let me explain. It's been about more than 18 months, and it's been interesting to be sure. The pandemic has changed society forever. I was at this lectern 2 years ago, talking about what stewardship meant to me, blissfully ignorant of the changes that were about to come. My stewardship talk then centered around what it means to be a steward. It means to take care of something. And with PCUM, there is no they to take care of things. There's only us. Once that is internalized, it can be powerfully motivating. My family lives close enough to PCUM that I have a view of the church bell tower from my home office, where I've spent a lot of time in the last few months, over a year and a half, actually. And I think that probably contributes to the incredible sense of responsibility that I feel to be a steward for PCUM, to take care of the church as an extension of our home. I think we can all relate to feeling isolated at this point after this pandemic. I worked for iHeartMedia at the beginning of the pandemic. As you may know, iHeart's a media company known for bigger-than-life events, something that was difficult to do when everything shut down. And as someone who used to spend a week a month on the road, being grounded was especially jarring for me. Actually, I'll admit I was going completely stir-crazy. Weren't you? I needed to do something, not on a Zoom call or by email, like roll up my sleeves and do something. Because we were in quarantine, that would need to be close to home. I was lucky to have a job, especially because there were many, many people who no longer had jobs. How could I apply my skills to do something that would be helpful to my community? I set out to find opportunities, and I can confidently say that I found them at PCUM. John Bachman, who leads the Worship and Music Committee, immediately snapped into action to figure out how to move church online. It started with an iPhone streaming on Facebook. It progressed to some webcams, and if you came in here during that time, it kind of looked like the set of a sci-fi movie, like wires hanging everywhere, hooked up to computers. Steve Culbertson was also helping with the sound, and John and Steve hooked everything up, and if they hadn't done that, then there would not have been any live streaming. There would not have been any church, for that matter. There's nobody else, it's just us. So it happens that my brother has a successful video production company down in Atlanta, and when the pandemic hit, he had to kind of shut his things down, which were mostly about filming commercials. And instead, he started getting calls from churches, actually, lots of them, because they needed to continue doing church, even though they couldn't do it live. Also, from my experience at iHeart, we were doing the same thing. We didn't have the platform to do these bigger-than-life live events anymore, and so we had to shift everything to virtual. And so through those connections and experiences, I decided, one thing that I could do is actually help PCUM really up its live streaming capabilities. And so working with John, we built a simple, rather inexpensive way to deliver a broadcast quality stream from right here on Norwood Avenue. And we're lucky enough to have found Jerome Nelson, who's up there today, honing his camera right on my face. Thank you, Jerome. And if we didn't do this, nobody would. If one of us didn't do this, there would be no live church. It's just us. Our stewardship theme this year is Together Beyond This Pandemic. I'm so thankful we can be physically together again, but we've always been together in spirit and online, in a way that's not only allowed us to keep delivering our mission, but it's actually allowed us to thrive and open up new opportunities. I mean, who could have imagined that we'd have congregation members from as far away as North Carolina, Washington State, across the country watching our church services every week? PCUM needs us to keep this going beyond the pandemic, not only to do the tasks that keep things going, but also to give money. That's right, I'm going to be direct this year. Josie and I increased our pledge for 2021, knowing there are others who understandably need to reduce their pledge or even eliminate their giving. In fact, I know from my experience on the church session that more folks have done that than have increased their giving this year. So we need to do something about that. It's just us. It's up to us. In addition to our Sunday worship services, we feed hungry people 3 times a month. Check our sign up at pcum.org, like Pastor Greg said. Jordan Green has weekly youth group meetings and children's programs. Anne Marie and the choir rehearses weekly and puts together our incredible music that you just heard. Our beautiful building serves as a masterpiece focal point for our neighborhood and provides a safe and mostly dry place for the littlest students in our community to learn. Our pastor is relevant, on point, and top-notch. Boy, are we lucky to have Pastor Greg. And yes, either Jerome or I are usually here before the sun rises on Sunday mornings, preparing to deliver the weekly virtual service. The only way we can continue to deliver these things is for us to work together, moving beyond the pandemic into the new normal. It's just us. There's nobody else to do it, just us. Thank you.